YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes RINT, dropping a fresh VID for you today. And you know what? After watching Raw this past Monday and 205 Live on Tuesday, let that sink in for just a moment. I want to talk a bit about Neville, the Mad King of the Cruiserweights, and his run with the Cruiserweight title has been fantastic. It has been long, it is exactly what you want out of a championship reign, and it has cemented him as the top performer in the Cruiserweight division. But the purpose of making this video is to discuss what to do with Neville post Cruiserweight, because he is good enough now that he should honestly be considered for a spot in the upper card titles of WWE, the Intercontinental, and even if we were to get so bold, we could put him in the Universal title picture. How do we do that? We do it simply. We don't make the mistakes that they've made with Jinder Mahal and Mickie James. People who had been jobbing for weeks and now suddenly find themselves in a position of prominence because reasons. Instead, what we do is we build them up little by little. Once the eventual conclusion of Jason Jordan and Miz feud happens, I believe we have Neville step in, possibly as a rejuvenated babyface, depending on whether Jordan or Miz remains champion out of this feud. And we have him take that title, and we have him hold that for a run similar to what he has already done with the Cruiserweight title. A nice long 6-8 month stranglehold on the Intercontinental division, and then we have him drop that title and move him up to the card. Why do you do this? It's simple. In the current WWE landscape, there are essentially two types of wrestlers. You're either a well-established character, or you happen to be really good in ring. Now, Neville is a slight anomaly in that he accomplishes both of these things. We knew almost from the time he came on the roster just how good Neville could be as a wrestler. But his initial babyface run was flat. The character was boring. And then, thankfully, once 205 Live came around, he reinvented himself as a heel and has taken that character to the point where you're not quite sure where Adrian Neville ends and the Mad King begins. And this is fantastic. It makes him fun to watch in that alone. And then you watch what he does in the ring. The man is truly fantastic. Plus, let's not forget, in an era where a finishing move has been bastardized and destroyed over and over again, people are kicking out of that multiple times. Just look at Cena Roman Reigns from No Mercy. Neville is protected in that he has two finishers. If he locks in that Rings of Saturn, you're not really going anywhere. And fortunately, if he hits the red arrow, people usually stay down for 3 seconds. The only exception was when he faced John Cena, and the only reason he didn't beat John Cena back then for the US Open title challenge is Rusev came in and broke it up, preserving their match for WrestleMania that year. So, in that regard, you have a solid wrestler who is every bit as good as the best people in the main event. Now, I hear some of you who are watching this thinking, yeah, but he's awful small. There's no way he can really buy him as a major threat to the Universal title. And my counter would be, one would think eventually Finn Balor will be marketed back into the main event push, and he will be a Universal title contender. And if he can, why not Neville, who is every bit as good as Finn is? He might even have a slight edge on Finn when he is not in demon form. We aren't touching Demon Valor. Demon Valor is its own separate entity and has made it a thing. Um, you know, people thought Rey Mysterio was too small to be a world champion, and the first time he had crappy booking to overcome, but that's kind of a thing to see how well you handle it. And then he would go on to be champ again and at least have a more credible run. I'd like to see this. The biggest thing I don't want the cruiserweight division to become is a cast-off place for wrestlers where Vince McMahon doesn't like you because you're not a big sweaty man, so he puts you down there. If anything, the current WWE product has proven many times over, again and again and again, that size doesn't matter anymore. It's all about what you can do in the ring. And right now, for my money, and for anybody else's, there is no one who is more qualified to be considered for a main event push after his time in 205 Live has concluded with Enzo. Not to say he has to be done with the division altogether, but for the sake of this video, once this feud with Enzo Amore is done, I would genuinely like to see him move on to bigger pastures because I think he's proven himself worthy of it. What do you think? Would you buy Neville as world champion if booking was done properly? Something I know WWE is lacking, but let's assume for a second that they can pull it off. Anyway, post your thoughts in the comments section down below. If not Neville, who else do you think could be a smaller man that you would like to see have a shot at the Intercontinental or Universal title? A chance to move up from the division they're currently in. Post that down in the comment section below. I'd love to get a discussion going with you guys. Ranter's going to get off the soapbox. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you don't want to miss a video by the Wrestling Ranter, click that little bell icon. Make sure your notifications are turned on. And, of course, make sure that subscribe button is checked. Catch you guys later. Ranter off the soapbox. Bye-bye.